All right, let's get started. It's kind of the YouTube thing that I have to do. All right, so I'll tell you guys the name of this. I'm not going to tell you who the person is, and I'm going to take it out of its print. This is 3-barrel cacti is the name. 3-barrel cacti. Awesome. So it's framed and mounted. And all right, so we're looking at this, and it's 3 cacti, which is awesome. The first thing I noticed about this, guys, when I'm looking at this, what is that noise? Is it looks like it's shot in studio. It doesn't look natural lighty, but it can be natural lighty. And I love that I'm thinking about that. So, I mean, if you look at all the black right here, this is super black. So I don't know if this is done in post or not, but the way that the thorns, the pricklies of the cacti are pulling out is freaking what I love. I love this. So now so here's what I'm thinking. Composition is my biggest thing, right? You give a camera to 5 photographers, they're all gonna have a different composition, and that's what makes a photographer. Although I like this in the center, I would have wished that this composition would be changed a little bit, or that we'd focus on one and the other two might get out of focus a little bit. And that's just me being nitpicky. The other thing that I've noticed is there's a hard cutoff from the gravel to the back. And looking at it, I can't tell if this is actually photoshopped out, but it's a hard line. I would have rather had it like smoothed out and faded into the black. But overall, this is a pretty clean image. I mean, it looks like it was shot at a higher f-stop. I want to say it's flash. I love how this, if you go back into this, whoever's worked this is, if you go back into this and you see the left side of this image, how it's fading into the black and the right side doesn't, that's what I'm looking for. And this is just me being nitpicky because this is actually pretty clean. This is pretty cool. I love this. Side note for everybody, because I'm going to keep saying it, I'm not a big fan of glossy images. I'm a big fan of matte images. So this has a little bit of a gloss to it. So as I'm trying to move it around, I'm seeing like the background and everything. But overall, this is cool. So 0 to 15, with those couple things, I would give this an 11, a 12, 11.5. It's clear. The exposure is awesome. Maybe a little bit more clarity to kind of pop those thorns out, make give it a little 3D look. But overall, this is pretty sweet. I'd love to know if this was flash or natural light. So whoever that is, that's freaking awesome. Gracias. Gracias. That's thank you in Spanish. All right. That's number 1. And guys, like I said, I don't know how fast I'm going through these. I'm kind of just thinking out loud. Me as being a professional, once I see an image, I kind of know what I like, don't like about it, and what I can kind of guide you to. So if anybody needs more critiquing ahead of time or after, please just let me know, and I'm happy to go into it. Oh, look at that. So, is this a puppy? This is a close-up of Coda. So this is called Coda Close-Up. I want to say it's a dog. But how cute is this dog? So photographers love black and white images. We love black and white images. What I love about black and white images is that we take out the emotion, we bring in the emotion of an image because we're taking out the color. And once you have no color, you get to focus on what the actual image is. So really cool candidates of like grandparents laughing or somebody throwing up or somebody peeing on the sidewalk. Amazing black and white images because you're not worried about the color. You're not worried about like the red wall. You're now worried about pee. Don't take pictures of that, people. Just don't. All right. So I love this. What I'm noticing at first as I'm staring at this print is that's a little soft. And what soft means is that our focus is off, or the intention of focus is off. So whenever I shoot pets, it's really hard, but I try to go for the eye. I try to focus right on the eye. So right in here, I try to get my main focus on. And what happens is that becomes crystal clear and everything gets blurry a little bit. You can't really shoot dogs at a really open f-stop. Sorry, I thought someone was coming in. At a really open f-stop because their nose is too far from their eye. You know, humans are kind of right here. So something will blur out. So I always miss and get my dog's nose and then everything blurs out and I get mad at myself. So I'm looking at here, it's soft and focused, and it looks like the focus here is right here kind of on the bridge of the nose, which I don't think that was purposefully done. I think that was an accident. And I think this image in digital may have looked sharp and clean at the time, but as you print it up bigger than that 2.5 LCD screen, you can kind of see it here. I love that you backlit this. I love that the light's behind. I love that the focus is on the face. I love that the puppy's looking somewhere else than not just the camera. Again, like with the last image, composition, I would have liked this maybe to be off to the side a little bit. Pull the dog over here. Do you see more of the dog? Just to tell a little bit more of a story, because we never really want to just shoot straight on. You guys never want to be in the middle of the frame. You kind of want to be outside of the frame a little bit. And that just makes our eyes think, and it makes it, our eyes visually see and our brains think. But overall, this is cute. This is a cute coda. I wonder if coda's bigger now. But I love this. And the only other thing I would suggest on this is upping that contrast. Anytime you put anything to black and white, you automatically lose contrast. So just bumping up that contrast a little bit. If you are photoshopping, then dodging and burning this may be amazing. And what that means is dodging is adding light to something and burning is darkening something. So maybe darkening these little spots right here of the darkness, and then just dodging parts of the white. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna make the little 3D pop effect and just kind of pull the eye where to focus. Side note, the brightest part of an image is where the eye goes. So always be careful with that. So right automatically when I first look at this, I'm looking at here. So I would even maybe dodge that, just take a little brush in Lightroom or Photoshop, burn it, and then just burn it down, and that'll make it a little bit darker. But this is a clean image. I'd give this a 10. If the eye was focused, that would be like a 13. Cute. Oh, we're doing good, guys. All right. This one is still in the, I think it's a AA division. Sorry, guys, I don't know if I said that. The Ruby Mountains with their peaks in the clouds is our next one. So again, another black and white. Are these all black and white? Oh, I guess I'm looking through the monochrome. It was just black. Okay, cool. Get it. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I love this. I love that little peak of mountain right there coming through the cloud, hence the name. This is really, really cool. So it's hard for me to kind of gauge these wide landscape type shots because it's so wide and there's so much to focus and view on that you don't really know where the focus is. So obviously we're focusing on the mountains, and it looks like it was shot from high above, shooting down. And I almost wish this was a little bit wider of a shot. I almost wish I could tell more of the story. For instance, this mountain right here is cool. It's peeking through, but it's on the outside of the image. I'd rather it be maybe my focus of it. For instance, if you're shooting a volcano, Mount Kilimanjaro, it's always the center and everything kind of. You want to show that grand scale of everything. I look down here and I know that these are houses and homes and cars and trees and all that. But I don't, because it's so dark down here. And what I like about this is, yeah, I can tell it's a mountain, but I want the grand scale of that mountain. So shooting with a wide lens, shooting up a little bit on it, even if you're at this angle, you can just tilt up a little bit and either focus heavily on this or none of it at all, almost like you're in, at Mount Fuji or something and you don't have any of these people below, which is an easy crop if we need to. Otherwise, everything's spot on. I would take a clarity brush and actually go over the clouds here, and what that's going to do is it's going to make that 3D effect. I keep saying HDR 3D effect, but you're not going for HDR on this, which is high dynamic HDR, high dynamic resolution. What does HDR stand for? Anyways, make it pop out. But I want these clouds to kind of pop out and force a little bit more. And then again, dodging and burning, making just burning these little dark spots and then dodging the rest. That's kind of what I like doing in my editing to make the eye visually go where it wants. But if I look at this as a whole, it's kind of where do I look? Where do I look? And so I want you to kind of go in there and be like, this is what I want you to look at, Jeremy, and you need to visually show me without being here, which is key. But I mean, yeah, focus is on. The depth of everything looks really awesome. I can kind of see these I love these little details in here, so that's really good, which means I think you shot at a high aperture, a high f-stop, which is cool. I would give this a 10. I would give this a 10. Yeah, I like it. I'll give it a 10. You guys, how's everybody doing in there? Good? Killing it? If you responded, that's weird. Because I'm not there right now. I am not really there. All right, still in the monochrome division here. We are looking at Japanese stone lantern. I am purposefully not looking at any of the names in here in case I know anybody. So far, I don't think I've known anybody. So I don't want my bias to be part of that. All right, I'm sorry. Japanese stone lantern. And I love this. Immediately looking at this, all right, so it's hard to tell sometimes in monochrome, black and white, if this is water that's reflecting through, so I had to take another peek. I love this. I'm Asian, so Asian stuff makes me happy. But looking at this right here, I want that contrast a little harder. It's a little too shadowy, or the shadows are built up a little too much, which is technically we were supposed to do, okay? So you did it right. You did this amazing, because without the shadows, you really wouldn't see this detail right here since this is so bright. I know that with like objects like these, we kind of just shoot what we have, what we're given. But if you could do this again, one thing that I highly recommend is maybe getting a reflector over the top of this really bright part up here, since this is probably white stone, just to darken that up a little bit, and that way this comes up naturally without having to raise the exposure of the entire image. But sometimes with landscape, with products, you're shooting flowers, people don't really think about that. Our job is to capture images. It's not necessarily to capture images as they are. So we get to play with them a little bit. What I do love here is this little rock set right here. It looks like little grains in there. So you're shooting at a high f-stop. The only other thing I would say about this, I mean, this is pretty standard. I like it. I think it's, I think you saw something visually appealing and you took a picture of it and it looks amazing. The only thing is I would change your composition. I would probably get lower. And for this, I would actually shoot landscape style rather than portrait to tell me a story, what's happening behind it with the stone. And maybe just a little bit further back to tell that story. Remember, every picture that we take, we're telling a story. So if you were to give me this image and be like, boom, here you go, I'd just be able to go, oh my God, this is awesome, this is over here, this is doing this thing. But if you have to explain it to me, then that might be a little different. I like this. I think it's straightforward. I'm gonna give it a 9. Nueve. It's 9 in Spanish, señor. 9. 9. 9's pretty good, right? 9's, I feel like 9's good. Hold on, I don't want to make you... Yeah, 9. 9. 9. It's my Hitler voice. Oh, this is cool. All right, this is cool. This is cool because I had no idea what it was when I first looked at it. So it looks like the side of a building. This is Gaudi architecture in Barcelona. So this is Barcelona, which I've never been. So I kind of love seeing stuff like this. I actually love seeing like old pictures of Reno, if you guys ever have that. That's really cool. So this is really cool architecture of a building, and great job seeing this. So I'm imagining you're standing on the side of a building, saw the cool lines, or lack of lines, because this building has no lines, took a picture. Looks like it was a cloudy-ish day because all the darkness is happening under the shadows. Not too bright, not too dark. With this type of image, there's nothing you can do. You can't hold a giant reflector up to it. You can't change the sun layout. So you get what you get, and so it's all about the editing process. I don't know if you did this, but I love these dark parts inside of the window because it's making the, is this like a balcony? What is this? Like they're making, it looks like it's burnt. Looks like makes the outside pop out a little bit more. So whatever the railings are out there. This is freaking sick. I love this. This is great. I think this is just a cool building. So I think, you know, amazing photography always, but I think like when you have something cool like this, it's just always gonna look good. You know, like when you have Justin Timberlake singing any song, it's always gonna be good. Bieber, when he's killing it, you know, I just want to hate him, but he keeps breaking out the hits. But this is cool. You know, it would have been like cooler, but never happened. If you had like a couple kissing in this window while it's open, just randomly. Like I said, I love landscape, but I like putting people in front of it. That's my wedding mind. Cool, that was good. Oh, 13. 13. Sorry guys, I'm not writing that down. Hopefully that'll be fine. Otherwise I can watch it and do it again. Okay, this is Ross Castle, 15th century Ireland. I love that you guys are traveling and taking your freaking cameras. I take my camera everywhere. I vlog everywhere. Hence why I have this. All right, this is cool. Here's what I like. I love that it's wide. I love it's a wide shot. I love it's telling a story. I love that you're, I don't know if the sun was on this or not, if it was a cloudy, I mean, it's a cloudy day, but depends on what the sun layout is. But I love that we actually see the clouds in the picture, so it's not a white out sky. And I love that we see the mountains back here. But the coolest thing is these three little people right here who are not looking at you. One guy has his hands behind his back, and it's another couple of the girl with the backpack. I love that because they were unexpected of it. So it's like, well, I always think of it as like a moment in time that you'll never get back. And that's why we became photographers, right? To capture lives, to capture memories that happen right away. And that's exactly what you did. Whether these people were part of this or part of your crew or whatever, we have no idea. I'd like to assume that they're not. I'd like to assume that you were just taking a picture and this is a couple maybe on their honeymoon getting a tour by some old guy named, Irish name, Patsy. I love that. Gates open. This is a freaking awesome castle. And there's a couple birds up here just chilling. I don't know if you saw that. Love this. Okay, so the only criticism I'm going to give on this, again, it's a monochrome. Pump that contrast up. Pump that clarity up just a little bit, because what I want is I want these little hard lines right here to kind of pop through. I don't know if the shadows were up, and I can't tell because of the color of the stone. If the stone was lighter, this will kind of be it. But in the stone, there's all these little details, and we're lacking those details because the shadows are up. Because within brick layout, the inside's going to be darker, and that's where you're going to contrast them to come out. So I would have liked just a little more contrast into that. And then I would have liked this to be lifted up just a little bit so that I don't see this foliage on the bottom. Either show me more, a whole bunch, or show me none at all. And that's just a tilt of the camera, right? This is cool. I'm gonna give this an 11. I like this. 11. All right, you guys are killing it right now. Okay, guys, this is called Deserted Ranch House. I mean, so whenever I look at images, oh God, sorry. Edit that. Whenever I look at images like these of like ranch houses or barns like these, it automatically makes me want to go like grab a model and go shoot them in there, take their picture, not shoot them. That's not my kind of shooting. But this is awesome. All right, so whoever's this is, you already won with me because you have the contrast and the clarity and maybe the sharpness even bumped up. And what that's doing is that's pulling this black and white image that's normally flat, like a 2D, one color, two color image, and you're pulling it out to me. And I'm automatically looking at it and I'm falling into it. And the reason that's important is because you have foliage, barn, trees in the back. So you have like 4 different layers, and I want to be able to get into those layers. This is awesome. This is all natural light, I'm assuming, which is cool. And if I was a photographer shooting this, like maybe a couple, then I'd put a little strobe, a little light in there, flash them in that little dark. But that's just me. I love this. Where is this? This is really cool. As I'm staring at it, just be careful not to make it too comic book or cartoony. So when you're moving that dial, that contrast, that clarity, that sharpness dial, Photoshop or Lightroom, if you go too far, it's going to look a little comic-y. And if you look at the tree right up top, that's what we're getting in the verge of. It's still a great image. And actually, this is just kind of neat to. It'd be cool to put to sell it to a book company or like a publishing company. I feel like it's like a cover of a book or something. Just really cool and neat. Since you contrasted for me, you did it for me. It's going to be a 14. 14! You guys are doing great. Oh, cool. Cool. I'm going to keep going, so I don't know. I haven't literally looked through all of these. So this one's called Rowboat. Row, row, row your boat. All right, so it looks like it's a fishing boat that's either horribly maintained or it's been sitting there for a while. I don't know. Okay, this is probably just stupid me. I don't know the orientation of this image. This way or this way, because I could see it both. And that's your job as an artist, right? I mean, it's kind of like we can do whatever we want with this. I'm going to assume it's this way because that's how you were standing, but that doesn't mean that's the interpretation of it. Looks like a couple different fishing nets here to keep it where it's supposed to be. I love the detail inside of it. I kind of like stuff like this. If I were to walk by like an old boat like this, one of the things that I would do is literally look inside. So I'm doing what you want me to do, or what I want to do here. So this is perfect. This is great. Contrast is up. You can actually see the detail in the water. The water isn't moving too much. You can kind of see the detail, and you can actually see some of the sky or the clouds in there as well. Kudos. I love this a lot. I love the moving water. One thing to try in the future is, so you have the ripples here, which means you have a fast shutter. Lower that shutter. Let's get some smooth, silky water. Put it on a tripod. Get your f-stop all the way up. Lower your shutter down to like 0.5 or 5 seconds to take a picture. And you'll notice all this water just start to blurry out and look freaking sexy as balls, bro. I love this. This is cool. I'm going to give you a 12. It looks like the second group of the box. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is double A with color. I think I know what I'm doing now, so this is going a little bit quicker for you guys. And it's video, so you can always go back and rewatch it, or rewatch it in slow-mo if you need it longer. But I'll get a little quicker here. Bro, is this a picture? I haven't really been talking about the print quality so far, guys. Nothing about the actual quality of the prints have unimpressed me. If it does, I'll say something, but so far it's been fine. I'm a big fan of printing on different mediums, but just printing in general. So unless I say something, it's fine. All right, this is Graffiti Palindrome. This looks really familiar, and as I'm trying to figure out what it is, so it's graffiti on here, and I don't know. Yeah, it has to be. So it has to be like this one image, palindromed it out. There's some brick right here, so it looks like this was on a wall. So really we're looking at this one image and then basically the artist, photographer. So this is when it comes to art to me, guys. This is digital art, and I'm looking back here and it says digital art by the name of the photographer or artist. So for me, it's harder for me to judge this because this is so subjective, right? So if I had to judge this, only thing I can look at is this 1/4 of this whole thing and judge the exposure, but like, I don't know, this is really hard for me to critique. I'm noticing here that the fingers are cut off in between on this one, but not this one. So what's happening is that when you went to digitally do it, you didn't do it in a perfect square, because the fingers are missing on the two girls up here, but the bottom one I can see their finger fully. But I know it's an inverted image. I know that I can do that, and it theoretically should be the same. So if I'm gonna get nitpicky, that's a huge thing for me. This is just cool. I mean, this is cool graffiti, cool art. I would love to put something in front of it. It's harder for me to critique this way because the frame's bordered out. I love the color orange. Hatch is orange. It's my favorite color. So good job knowing that about me and putting this in. I love this. So digital art, I'm going to give this a 12. And I don't think I can say this as photography, because you're the type of photographer that can take a shoe and then turn it into something freaking amazing. And so I can't do that. I like that. That was cool. So let's give you, what did I say, 11, 12? Whatever I said that first time, that's what you're getting. All right, what's this called? This is AA color, and I'm getting some more. Okay, this is cool. All right, do it. Same photographer. This is Antique Store Window in Santa Fe. This reminds me of like the Muppets, like Jim Henson, something like that. Yeah, I was gonna say museum, and I'm looking at it, and obviously you took the picture. I believe there's probably spotlights on this section. There's spotlights everywhere, and you went and edited it. You upped the clarity, you smoothed it out a little bit more, cartooned it up a little bit. It looks cool. I think this is awesome. I don't know if the color is intentional, but I do love that 1970s faded, opaque Easter look. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. If I would have any suggestion in this, I would brighten up the grandma here, the lady, and I would darken up everything else just with a simple dodge and burn tool. You're probably an amazing editor, so going in and dodging her a little bit and then burning everything else so that my eye goes directly into here. And if you're digitally arting it, maybe even show a little spotlight hitting there too. I think that'd be super cool. This is awesome. 12. Let's do 12 again. Super excited. Okay, so we are looking at Celtic Christian Monastic Round Tower and Cemetery. Okay. I love cemeteries. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the dead people, but I like cemeteries. I like this. I like this. Okay, so one thing that I would critique on this automatically is that I wish the angle was in front of these tombstones, headstones, stones. We're seeing the side of everything. I can tell this is a cross, but I would have loved it if it was from the side to shoot up on it. And I can't tell how big this is because this thing looks huge and this isn't. I don't know if there's a door. I mean, there's a gate right here. I mean, this looks pretty big, but this thing looks huge right here, right? Is this huge, or is it just where it's at? I love the detail in the clouds. That looks awesome. Overall, I think this is a pretty good image. I mean, nothing's off. The color looks really good. I love that green color. I love that we can kind of see far. I wonder if this is an HDR shot, 3 different exposures put in a 1. I like this. This is cool. Let's give this a 10. Change that composition, it'd be bigger. Composition's hard, guys. I mean, our job as photographers are to walk up to something, look at it, and then automatically go, oh, okay, I like this because of this. All right, this is called, ooh, this is printed on like metal paper. This is called Northern Ireland. Shassendon Beach, Northern Ireland. This is cool. I love people. I love that, again, that freezing of time right here. So we have some people here hanging out. Looks like a light beach, if you will, with some greenage. Again, this looks like the HDR. I think this might be the same photographer. This looks a little HDR to me, and the reason I can tell is that it's in focus here, it's in focus here, it's in focus here, and nothing looks out of focus per se. So it could be even a stacked image now that I'm looking at it. And if you do that, kudos, because that's something that's very hard to learn. Printing on metal paper, metal on water is really cool. It brings out the water a little bit. And I think this is an amazing shot. The only thing that I would nitpick on this part right here, I either want to see more of it or none of it. It's just at that point where I can kind of tell maybe it's a walkway, maybe it's not, but it's just there. And I would rather you lift it up or get closer to the sand and then shoot up a little bit to get more of this. This just feels like it's just out of place right now. But I do like it. So if you get the chance, I would like to see all of it. But yeah, this is cool. It looks a little cartoony in the back, but I think that's just with the either the stacking or the HDR. 11. That's 11 in Spanish. Oh snap! All right, reptiles. So it looks like we got is it a chameleon? No, it's a lizard of sorts. It's a iguana, green iguana. I think this is printed on metal. Nope, I think it's just glossy paper. This is awesome. This is really cool. All right, so remember when I said we're photographing pets? I always want the focus on the eye. I'm looking at the eye now. It's a little soft, but the focal point looks to be right here on the leg. I don't know if it was moving or what, but it happens all the time where we miss our focus. Sometimes if you put your camera on autofocus or auto point focus, where it picks the point for you, it'll pick the brightest area of the subject and might not be what you guys want. So be careful of that for sure. But iguana hanging out. I love the little details. I actually love this little pink that's kind of pulling through on the rocks. Just right up here. And I mean, it's in focus. I can tell what it is. Look at the little goblet thing. This is awesome. On some rocks. I am noticing right here, though, in the corner, if you go and look at your digital, it's starting to artifact a little bit here, which means that you vignetted too much. Just be careful of that. Be careful to look in these corners where things start to change. You might not be able to tell even on digital or on your computer screen, but when you print it, you'll be able to see it. Easy fix. Crop in. Simple like that. This is cool. I like this. I'm going to give this I'm going to give it a 10. A 10. Oh, look, containers. I have this thing with containers. We have the Eddy here in Reno with containers. And we also have, oh, it's trippy. I've always wanted to make a bunch of offices inside of containers. I don't know why. All right. I like this image, but it's totally out of focus. In fact, I mean, unless that's purposeful, I don't imagine that it is. I think this was shot at a really low shutter with a little bit of camera shake because I don't think the focus is off. I think the focus was on when you took the picture. This is a Rubik's Cube of containers, which is actually a great name for that. But looking at any of the words, I'm starting to get a little bit of not a headache, but like a headache. Because nothing's in focus, and what it looks like is it's dragged a little. So when you took the picture, you clicked and just moved it a little bit, and what happens with a low shutter, that will happen. So in detail, that means that nothing else is in focus or is sharp. If that's your intention, I do apologize. I just did not get that. But I do love the Rubik's Cube. I also wish that this was wider or told more of a story. I feel like a Rubik's Cube of containers, I want to see like all of it. I know that this is probably a huge area and I want to see it all. This is great colors. I love that color gradient. This actually would look really cool as a abstract print or art on somebody's wall. This is cool. Due to that, I'm going to give this an 8. I'm going to give this an 8, but if it was purposefully blurred, and I'm just not getting it, then I'm going to give you a 10. Boop, 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 boop. A lighthouse. It's a house for lights. Oh, God. Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. And the tape's coming off on the back here. All right. Looks like it was printed on metal paper. I think it was metal. This is awesome. Cool lighthouse. The thing with lighthouses I've noticed is a lot of people photograph them so that they're small. Remember, whatever is closest to the camera will look biggest, whatever's furthest looks small. And I know this thing is huge, right? So I want to kind of see that hugeness of it. And what that means is getting closer to the lighthouse, keeping it on the same composition, which is freaking awesome. Although I don't know where the focal point is on this. Actually, it looks like right here, the high f-stop. So right here. I don't know if this was sharpened after, but I would like that focus to be right there. Remember, you're drawing my eye to where it needs to go. This is kind of the brightest part, so I'm looking at it in general because it's white, but this is a cool image. This is a cool image. I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more of the water. And again, this bottom part, all or nothing, right? Either show me more or show me nothing. This would have been a good image to get closer and then get that lighthouse a little bit wider. Imagine what this would look like at night, though. I mean, you probably weren't there at night, but like with the light going around and maybe a long exposure shot, that'd be cool. I like this. Let's go 11. Let's go 11. Let's go 11. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's... All right, this is called Entrance to High Rock Canyon. So I bet this is called High Rock Canyon. All right, I'm feeling a little bit of HDR here going on. I'm loving the detail right here in the front. As I get closer to it, I can see all that little detail, the colors. it's looking a little bit mute to me. The color is not as vibrant as it should be. I don't know if there's a film preset on it. I would have liked this little more pop of color. But what I do love about it is I do love that I can tell that this is an entrance here, which is hence the name of it. I love the grand scale of everything because I can tell how small this is and how big this is. And of course, these clouds are just epic and amazing. Looks like a little bit of shadowing here, so maybe the sun's going this way. This is awesome, pretty straightforward. I'm trying to see if I see like animals or anything. Awesome. 10. 10. Yeah, this is cool. It'd be epic if there was like a horse right there. I guess a group of horses. Same photographer, I believe, for these next two. This is called Lunchtime. Oh, I get it. All right. Now, these are not easy shots to shoot, guys. But this one is, we're going to think of this as abstract, okay? Because this is not in focus. And I don't know if he actually has anything in his mouth or her mouth. You can tell something splashing in the water. I like the water movements there. I really wish this was tack sharp. I really wish it was just high enough shutter to stop motion, stop time. It looks like you were far away and zoomed in. And I get it zooming in so that we can see to see the close-up. Sometimes zooming in isn't the way to go. Sometimes making sure that you frame your subject correctly in the environment that it is. I mean, from right here, it looks like the bear can be in the ocean, but we tell that the bear is standing on something because they're higher than the water level. I like this, but that sharpness is gone. And for me, photography is all about that sharpness or purposeful blur. So we got to make sure we focus on that. The color here, I love. This reminds me of like a 1980s kind of like shot, especially maybe even with the border here that you have. I do love the story, and honestly, that would freak me the F out, being close to a bear. I saw one at Crystal Peak Park, and I almost threw up. That's really good. Let's give this a 7. So, same photographer, I do believe, but we're going to call this Milford Sound Waterfalls, New Zealand. And it looks like a tourist boat on this epic freaking waterfall. I imagine you're on a boat as well. Because like, how else are you going to get this? So you're probably at the lowest level that you can to get this shot. I do love this. I wish it was more of a landscape shot. Again, I want to tell the story of what's happening. But with this shot right here, we have the scale of how small this boat really is to this waterfall. There's blurriness in the waterfall, just a touch, which means your shutter was low enough. Maybe you guys were standstill or stopped, but there is blur, and I love that. This color reminds me of the other color. It's a little bit muted. It's a little bit, which actually works for this image really well. The color of the greens in there, everything has this teal kind of soft color to it. This looks great. I like this one a lot. This one I'm going to give a 10.